Hey all, welcome to homeschool, and we have started with the first chapter of class 8 science, isn't it? Started with the chapter crop production and management, where we have already discussed about what are the different activities that has to be performed during crop production. There are seven agricultural practices, that is seven steps that is involved in crop production, right? So they are preparation of soil, sowing, and later adding manure and fertilizer. Next step is irrigation, that is watering, and after that we have to do removal of weeds, and after that harvesting and storage, right? So among the seven steps, we have already discussed about preparation of soil and sowing methods in detail, and in this video I'm going to talking about adding manure and fertilizer as well as different irrigation methods. The different irrigation methods are very important to understand, because there are very interesting methods which were used from olden days onwards. Even now we are using those methods in most of the areas, and we have some advanced methods of watering also, that is drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, all of that you must have seen, right? And I'm going to show you the beautiful real visuals, okay, on the different irrigation methods. So don't miss the video, watch the video till the end and get the maximum benefit of learning. Clear? So now I'll give a detailed explanation about adding manure and fertilizers. Adding manure and fertilizers. Okay, so here there is a difference between manure and fertilizer. Okay, but the purpose of using manure and fertilizer is same. So why we have to add manure or fertilizer? Why we should add manure or fertilizer is because to improve. We add manure or fertilizer to improve the nutrients of soil. So what is getting improved here? The nutrients which are present in a soil will get improved. Okay, so to improve the nutrients of soil, okay, for healthy growth of plant. Healthy growth of plant. So you must have observed even at your home, after you put seeds in a soil, you will add some manure, right? Some fertilizer you will add so that plant can grow healthy and very nicely and very quickly, right? So that is the purpose of adding manure and fertilizer to a soil after sowing. Clear? Okay, and now we will study what is the difference between this manure and fertilizer. So what is a manure? Manure is actually an organic substance. Organic substance is nothing but it's a natural chemical. Natural chemical substances are called organic substances. It has a very deep meaning. Some chemical meaning is there, but as of now, just try to remember organic substances are the chemical substances which are naturally present, which is present in a natural substances. Okay, see, the substances which are there in a human being, these substances are naturally present in a human being, no? So they are called as organic substances. So organic substances are those naturally present substances in plants and animals. Clear? So manure is an organic substance. It is one such naturally existing substance, chemical substance, which is obtained. That means which is formed. Obtained in the sense formed, right? So which is formed or obtained by decomposition of plant and animal waste. Plant and animal waste. So what do you mean by decomposition of plant and animal waste here? Say for example, the leaves of the plants or the leaves of the trees would fall on a ground, and every day many animals including human beings die, right? And where do we bury them? Where do we throw them? We throw them on a land and we bury them on a land. So what happens to these plant bodies or leaves or these dead animals? Once they go into a soil, and they will get decomposed. That means whatever the chemical natural substances are there in these body, they will again break down into smaller and smaller pieces with the help of certain bacteria that is present in a soil. Okay, so once these bodies die, whatever natural chemicals present in a body, again it breaks down. That breaking down process is called as decomposition. So who will break down these chemicals present in dead bodies of plants and animals? Microorganisms. Where are these microorganisms present? They are present in soil itself. Okay, so after that we get some new chemicals. Okay, once the older chemicals got broken down, we get new chemicals. Actually, those chemicals are rich in nutrients for the soil. Okay, so that's how the nutrients are increased in the soil. So that is called as organic manure. I mean, it is called as manure. Okay, so what's a manure? Organic substances which obtained by decomposition of plant and animal waste. And this organic manure generation, we can do it at home also. This waste, vegetable waste, fruits waste, rotten fruits, and all these leaves, when you dump it in a big container, and when you add certain amount of useful microorganisms, you know what, after many days you would get some powder form which is rich in nutrients, and that is very much essential for the soil for healthy growth of a plant. Okay, so such naturally synthesized organic substances which are rich in nutrients, beneficial for the growth of a plant, are called as manure. Okay, so this is how manure gets generated. So this manure we can add to seeds that we have sowed. Clear? So that the plant can grow in a healthy way. So that's what we mean by manure, right? And now let us understand the meaning of the word fertilizer. So what do you mean by a fertilizer? Fertilizer is a man-made chemicals. It is a man-made chemicals which are rich. They are rich in particular nutrients. They are rich in particular nutrients. Okay, say for example, you have fertilizers, like you must have heard, urea is a fertilizer which is prepared in a factories. It is not naturally present in our nature, and it is made by man using various chemical reactions. Urea, and we also speak about NPK. NPK in the sense nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium is called NPK. So these are some examples for fertilizers. Okay, so they are rich in a particular nutrient. So if you want nitrogen for your soil, then you can always select nitrogen rich fertilizer. So the moment you spray this fertilizer to a soil, the soil becomes rich in nitrogen, the plant gets nitrogen, and it will grow in a healthy way, right? So that's how fertilizers are man-made chemicals which are rich in particular nutrients. But there are many disadvantages of using fertilizers. So let us talk about disadvantages of fertilizers. Okay, so what, since they are chemicals and they create water pollution, right? They create water pollution. So during their preparation in the factories, if any waste products are getting generated, where do they liberate? They liberate to the rivers, oceans, right? Which actually spoils the water. right? So during their manufacturing, it leads to lot of pollution, and these waste products are released to water, which spoils water, which contaminates water. So that's how using fertilizer is dangerous. It actually creates water pollution. And another thing is continuous use. When you use this continuously, so this continuous use destroys the fertility of soil. Okay, this actually destroys fertility of soil. So you should not continuously use the fertilizers. When you use artificial things continuously, that actually decreases the fertility of a soil. Soil will lose its nutrients, soil will lose other microorganisms. Okay, so to some extent these fertilizers would kill useful microorganisms. Okay, useful microorganisms which are present in soil, right? So these are some disadvantages of using fertilizers. Clear? Since fertilizers are very much dangerous to use, we can use manure, which is more safer than fertilizer. Okay, so now I am going to discuss about advantages of manure. Now you got to know the difference between fertilizer and manure, right? Let us see what advantages are there for using manure. This manure can improve absorption of water, right? And it improves, it creates more pores in soil. So what do you mean by pores here? Pores are nothing but holes. Okay, so manure can leave lots of holes in a soil. When you have lots of small holes, water can flow very nicely, and plant roots can breathe properly. Plant roots can absorb water in a better way, isn't it? So that way absorption of water by plant roots gets increased. And also this is safe to environment, right? It is safe to environment. It doesn't cause any pollution, right? It will not harm anything. And it can improve useful bacteria. Manure improves useful microorganisms. Instead of bacteria, I would say microorganisms, useful microorganisms in soil, right? So these are various advantages of manure. You see, fertilizer doesn't have much advantage. Only advantage is it is rich in a particular nutrient. Okay, so using that nutrient, plant grows in a better way. But more than advantages, it had lots of disadvantages. Yes or no? See, these are many disadvantages, but manure has lots of advantages. So I think, tell me, which is the best thing to use for agriculture, manure or fertilizer? So definitely it is manure, isn't it? So you have to concentrate on ways of producing manure instead of using fertilizer. Using fertilizers, farmers have got lot of yield actually, but that actually destroys the fertility of a soil. We should think of the fertility of soil also here, right? Okay, so now let me give a list of differences between fertilizer and manure. See guys, here are few differences between fertilizer and manure. As I said, fertilizer is man-made, artificially made, whereas the manure is naturally made by decomposition of cattle dung and plant residues. What do you mean by cattle dung? It is the waste excreta of cows, buffaloes, etc. And plant residues are the fallen leaves and the dead plants, right? All of them. So it is made by the decomposition of plant and animal waste. And coming to the next difference, fertilizers are made, they are prepared in factories, whereas the manure is prepared in fields, okay, crop fields. And fertilizers do not provide any humus. So what do you mean by a humus? Humus is a top layer on a soil which is rich with the nutrients, okay, which is rich in natural nutrients, rich in natural microorganisms, that is very much useful for the soil. that is called humus. Humus is a nutrient rich layer present in a soil. Microorganism rich layer present in a soil. See, fertilizer do not provide any humus, whereas manure can provide lots of humus. And finally, fertilizer is rich in nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. These elements are actually necessary for better growth of a plant, whereas our manure is less rich in these nutrients. Okay, there are these nutrients, but it's not too much high. Very minimum amount of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium is observed in a manure. This is the only advantage of fertilizer. Other than this, everything is a disadvantage only, right? Okay, so now, you know what, instead of using fertilizer, you can go for one more method in crop production, that we call it as crop rotation. You can do crop rotation. So what do you mean by crop rotation? See, we must have observed nowadays, the people, if they start growing a paddy field continuously, after about 3 months, for every 4 months or 5 months, they keep growing paddy only. They will not change the other crop. So if you, and along with that, for every crop they would use lots of fertilizers. So what would happen is the soil lose its healthy nature. The soil will lose its nutrients. So instead of growing the same crop years together, you can shift the crops. You can change the crops. You can grow other crops alternatively. Say for 4 months, if you have grown paddy, after that you can change it to some legumes like mustard, or some pea family plants you can grow, or after that again you can grow a paddy. Like that, you can keep on changing the crops, so that what happens is the soil will regain its nutrients. Okay, and this method of growing different crops alternatively is called as crop rotation. So how do you define a crop rotation? It is a method of growing different crops alternatively. Okay, alternatively, like every time, it's not good to grow the same crop year all through the year, and over the years it's not good to grow the same crops. You have to change the crops. Say for about 6 months, if you have grown one crop, then you have to go for another type of a crop, so that soil get exposed to all types of a crop, and it gets all types of nutrients, right? So that method is called as crop rotation, right? So this is all about adding manure and fertilizer. You must know the definition of manure, fertilizer, what is the difference between manure and fertilizer, what are the disadvantages of fertilizer, advantages, that is useful things about manure, and later something about the crop rotation also. Clear? And now we will go for the irrigation methods. This is the most important step in crop production, that is the irrigation. Let's start with irrigation. So guys, we all very well know that how important water is for any living body, right? It may be a plant or it may be an animal body. 90% of the plant body is made up of water itself. Even for an animal, 90% of the body consists of water. Clear? See, moreover, for the plants, if I talk about the plants, water is necessary for photosynthesis. Plants prepare their own food by the process called photosynthesis, isn't it? Water is very much essential. And also, water is necessary for germination. Right? When you sow a seed in a soil, seed has to get germinated. You should get root, you should get shoot, isn't it? So this is what we mean by germination. For germination also, water is very much required. Say completely, water is the major thing for a growth of a plant body. So comes a step, very, very important step, irrigation. So how do you define a term irrigation? Irrigation is a process. It is a process of watering Plants. Plants, a group of plants include crop, isn't it? Process of watering plants or crops at regular intervals. At regular intervals. It's not that every day you have to put water for the plants, right? For every 10 days, if it is a paddy field or maize field, for every 10 days or 15 days, you have to supply water continuously, right? So this process of supplying water to plants or crops at a particular time, at regular interval, consistently, is called irrigation. Okay, and now to supply water, to pour water onto a crop, you need certain sources, right? So where do you get water from? If you're growing a big fields of paddy or maize or sugarcane, where do you get water to water them? You must have a certain source. So can you think of the sources of irrigation? Sources of irrigation. So where do we get water for irrigation? That is from wells. We can get water from wells, ponds, right? Streams, rivers. Rivers are a big source. Lakes. So all these are sources of irrigation, right? So now, how do you pull water from wells? Say pond is an area which is full of water. So that water, your fields are somewhere far. So how do you carry the water from ponds till your field? How do you carry water from rivers till your field, right? Say there are various methods of irrigation. Say the process of taking water from wells and then watering to your crop is a method of irrigation. Okay, so we have different methods of irrigation where you can get water, where with a special method you take the water from a well and you put it for your crop, and you take the water from pond or river and you will make it to flow through your crop, isn't it? So there are various methods of irrigation. That's what we are going to discuss in details now. See, there are mainly two methods of irrigation. One is traditional methods, other one is modern method. Traditional methods are the methods which were used from olden times onwards. Here in the olden methods, that is traditional methods, we require a lot of manpower, right? And many people are required to bring water from well or pond to the fields, right? And lots of energy, lots of time is invested for traditional methods. So that's the reason, to overcome this, we had got a modern methods, where two important methods we are going to study. First, let me list out what are the traditional methods we have for irrigation. One is moat or pulley system, chain pump method, dhekli method, and Rahat method. Okay, so moat, chain pump, dhekli, Rahat are the traditional irrigation methods. And modern methods are the sprinkler system as well as drip system. Maybe you are aware of these systems, right? And now I will show each and every method with the help of a visual. Let me explain all these methods in detail with the help of visuals. So let's enjoy the visuals now. Guys, now we will understand the moat or pulley method. See, with the help of a bull, he is pulling a rope. Okay, so when he pulls the rope, see what happens. There is a bucket. Okay, with the bucket, the water is coming up. You can see the other side, you can watch. The other side is a bucket like structure, I mean some container. See, the container is filled with water and it is coming up. How is it coming up? Because the bulls are taking that rope away, right? It's connected to a rope and this rope is taking away by the bulls. See, again bulls are coming back, the bucket goes down into a water, again bulls go forward, it will pull the bucket up and it will pour the water. Okay, so this is also a very tiring way of irrigation, right? Person has to struggle a lot. Say he has to, keep on moving the bulls.
See, bulls are moving away so that the container is coming up and water is poured. See, the bucket is going down and it is taking water, right? And it's coming up as the bulls go away. And this is how the irrigation is done for a crop, right? See, water is going to the fields. It's going to the field, right? With the help of this bulls, the bucket is going down and it's coming up with water and it's poured into a field. This is all about the moat or pulley method of irrigation. See guys, this is called Dekli system, very traditional way of irrigation. Okay, this is his paddy field. This is a stream. Here is a stream where water is flowing. See how is he picking the water from a stream and he is irrigating his field. You can see a long wooden block, right, that is fixed here, and one side he has fixed with a weight. See, the one side is a weight, the other side with a bucket, and see how he is taking water from a stream and he is pouring it to his field. It's a very tiring job, isn't it? Takes lot of time. See with how much difficulty the person is doing this kind of irrigation. This is a very old and traditional way of irrigation. Okay, you can observe it clearly. See the weight, one end is tied with a weight, the other end with the bucket. So the bucket, with the bucket he is pouring water and it's going to the field, right? So you can observe it clearly. This is called Dekli irrigation. Okay, so Dekli type of irrigation. So when you have a small piece of a land, you want to irrigate it, which is there near the stream, then this is the best method. But it takes lots of energy and time also, right? Guys, coming to the traditional Rahat method of irrigation with the help of bulls. You see the setup here. The bulls are moving, right? The bulls are fixed with a rod. They are moving, and this movement gives a movement for this particular wheel. Wheel is connected with so many buckets. These buckets are getting water from a stream and it's pouring into this container. Through this container is connected to big pipes, guys. Through these big pipes, the water is going to the fields. Okay, so you can carefully observe as the bulls move, that makes a movement of wheel. As the bulls move, the wheel is moving. Okay, wheel is connected to buckets. So these buckets are getting water. They are getting water from a stream, and that water is poured into this container. Okay, this container. Through the container, pipes are there. Through pipes, water goes to a field. This is what we call Rahat method. This is also very traditional way of irrigation. Even now it is used in some parts of Rajasthan. Clear? So this is Rahat way of irrigation. You can clearly once again see the video. The wheel is moving because the bulls are moving. It's connected with the wheel. Okay, there's a connection between that wheel and this bulls, this particular block of wood. That's it. Here is a wheel moving. Coming to sprinkler irrigation, guys, you see this big long pipes would be there initially and they are connected with each other. Okay, to that small pipes, these are what we call sprinklers. This is from where sprinkling of water takes place. So that's how the smaller things are connected to these bigger pipes. And this is a field where the pipes are placed. Okay, and you can see all over how the sprinkler is connected, and it will have a nozzle. The moment you on the nozzle, water comes out. Okay, so just like a rain, you feel that as the rain is falling on a field, so that water can be spread uniformly all over the field. This is how the sprinklers actually works a lot. And you see the water, it just falls like a rain here, right? So this is how you can just see the sprinklers, and all the sprinklers you have to set in a particular direction, okay, so that every field, each and every part of a field can be wet with a water. See, this is how along pipes, where the smaller pipes they are provided with a nozzle, and through the nozzle the water comes out. So this is how actually it works. So that's all about sprinkler irrigation. This is the most effective irrigation method when we have a large piece of land and water can be spread uniformly throughout the field. Coming to the drip irrigation, guys, you can see the drip irrigation setup here. See, this is how the setup of drip irrigation looks like. Various tanks where they are nothing but purifiers, water storage tanks, right? Say with a water storage tank, this long pipes are connected. These are the major main pipes, okay, and to this main pipe, small pipes with holes are connected at each and every plant. You see, each and every plant is provided with a long pipe with a hole. You'll have a small pores. So through the pores at a particular plant, the water would spread out. Okay. See, the entire, all these tanks are the filtrating units. See how the water is flowing. Water flows. This is a flow of water. You can see the water flowing, that blue color one, right? Say, it flows through the pipes. It's coming through this main pipe. You can see this blue one, right? And from the main pipes it will go to smaller pipes where the water would fall in the form of drops at each and every plant. Okay, say you can see the water coming out in the form of drops to the plant, so that sufficient amount of water can be given for each and every plant.
Hope you understood each and every method in detail looking at the visual, right? So those were the different irrigation methods that we follow in our country, and these are the old methods but still very effective methods which are used in rural areas. And in the urban areas, these are the most commonly found methods, that is sprinkler and drip. With these methods you can actually save the water also, and also the water will fall just like a rain, so that every plant get water in a equal amount, in a same amount, and you can save water also, right? So that is the advantage of modern methods. And that's all about today's video, and in my next video I will come up with the next steps under crop production. Till then, revise the entire concept, and you can post your opinion about the video in the comments, so that gives us lots of energy to bring more and more new methods of teaching for you all, right? And do subscribe our channel to learn the concepts in the easiest way and in a detailed way. Thank you so much, and share the videos for your friends without fail. Thank you.